Remember in 2017 when the cool kid came into class with a red fidget spinner? Yeah, no, definitely not me if that's what you're thinking. Stop thinking that. But we all know fidget spinners were popping back in the day. We saw them as little fidget toys and funny toys to use. But obviously they were way more and way different than we thought. Long before fidget spinners existed, fidgeting itself was already common. People clicked pens, bounced their legs, or played with small objects. Psychologists studied fidgeting as a response to stress or anxiety and as a way of self-regulation in behavior. But going back a good amount of years to 1993, we know that an American inventor named Catherine Hettinger filed a patent for a spinning toy designed to be held by hand and rotated. Hettinger's motivation was to help children release nervous energy and to create a calm and non-violent toy for them to play with. And as expected, she invented an early version of the fidget spinner. But in 2005, Hettinger let her patent expire because she couldn't afford the renewal fees, meaning that anyone could remake the same toys she wanted to make. And for a long but quiet time, the early fidget spinner existed through other people but was never brought up again, and sat quietly until 2016. Because in that year, a man named Michael Scott McCoskey filed a patent for a ball bearing based hand spinner, extremely similar to the fidget spinner we know today. The key innovation of McCoskey's fidget spinner was a central ball bearing, symmetrical weighted arms, and a design that allowed the spinner to spin for long periods of time. And as we all thought, by 2018, fidget spinners were blowing up across the whole world. Now how, you might be wondering? Why didn't it blow up when Catherine made it? What is the difference? What happened? Well, it's because social media was just reaching its peak around this time. You see, during the time that Catherine made it, there wasn't really any type of social media for her to spread it or anywhere for her to, make it shine or popular. But around this time, everything you put on YouTube or any other platform was basically just bound to blow up because social media was still evolving and still in its early years, which made the fidget spinner a perfect piece to all platforms. As the word got out, specifically one age group found fidget spinners fun. It was school kids, which included 8-year-old me at the time. And as they got more and more popular, people started making tricks with them and posting them on YouTube, sort of like a Dude Perfect only era, if you know what I mean. And as we got further and further into them, they became the best-selling toys on Amazon. And they could scale from like $1 plastic spinners to $100 or more luxury metal ones, which I actually had at some point. Can't say it was my parents' best purchase though. I feel bad for them. But they also went from only being toys to being fashion items and status symbols. You could basically see fidget spinners as a cultural event for a few years. But as fast as something can rise, obviously it can also fall down as fast. Obviously there are always consequences following. Instead of being some sort of stress relief in classrooms, it got to a point where everyone had them. And they just made noise and became a distraction for you. And just like any other valuable item, students started to trade spinners for money or other spinners, kind of like a black market strategy. And as you might have guessed, they eventually got banned from schools, which was probably the lowest point of my school life, I can't lie. By 2019, they had a crazy big fall off, not because they only got boring, but also because social media had evolved to a point where people always wanted something new. Basically, fidget spinners went through sort of a trend fatigue, if you know what I mean. And also, most things usually come to an end when there is no purpose behind them. It was fun and all, but all you could really do was buy them, and once you had a lot of them, it got boring because they didn't have a depth or a challenge attached to them, making it feel like a sandbox game, but as a toy. Since schools also banned them, it led them to not being used anymore, since everyone brought them to school to play with their friends, obviously. And as you know, once a trend is mocked, ironic, or associated with a specific year, it's simply just dead. Now to this day, fidget spinners do still exist, but they just don't have the same hype anymore. Obviously there have been more fidget toys that people have invented and that have died since then, but the way fidget spinners made us feel will never be forgotten. Now my own experience with this, I've had a pretty crazy one because I remember buying so many spinners and then like them breaking and me buying more and more and more because my mom works at like a store. So we would always get like 3 or 4 spinners from there because they were so cheap. We bought the plastic ones at times and I did buy a metal one at some point, which was really cool, but it was super expensive. So yeah, I'm sorry, mom and dad. I probably shouldn't have made you buy that. But you know, it was like a really good time. I used to bring them to school. We used to play with their friends. Also, I do think that at some point it did get kind of dangerous to have spinners, because I remember having a friend that had a spinner that had sharp blades on it. Like it was sharper than a knife, you know. So whenever he would spin on it, it would like sometimes he would cut himself with it, which is really insane. And I don't even know how people sold that, but he just bought it off like street markets and stuff like that. And you know, it wasn't really the safest option for 8-year-olds at that time, you know. But they were really fun to use. And I remember when they started to die and stuff, I just had them as like a collectible, because my mom still kept buying them. And I just used to play with them even up until like 2019. And then, you know, I dropped them completely. We had so many, it was getting tiring at that point, you know. But yeah, that's how it could end if you act greedy and want even more. You guys probably remember the nostalgia of them now, what they were, you know? But yeah, there will be a big memory for me until the day I die. It was just such a great time for me. But yeah, that was all about fidget spinners. Comment down below how many you had. I had like 50 of them. Really cool things, you know? But yeah, have a good one.